welcome you to another edition of Mainstream Main Gist, where we bring in specialists within the power sector. And as my colleague often says, that these specialists are people who work at the background, those whom you never know exist. And because of the speciality of how Nigeria's power sector operates, there are quite a number of people that you do not know contribute to how power gets to your house. In another edition that passed, we brought in someone who was in charge of dams. Because of our speciality of being a hydropower on the continent, we brought in a dam specialist, somebody who makes sure that the reservoirs of the containers, if you like, of those dams are kept safe. But today we have in the studio someone whom I admire a lot, someone who I've watched over the years and I've learned so many things from. He is a hydrologist. I am sure a lot of you have not heard of that term, hydrologist. He is the head of hydrology. And I just am awed at some of the things he does. I'm not going to take your time. I'm just going to ask him immediately. Let's dive into it. He'll introduce himself and tell you what hydrology is all about. You're welcome today, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Benga. Thank you for having me. I am Akonde Ayodeji, Head Hydrology Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited.
Amazing. So hydrology, what does that mean? You're head of hydrology. What does that mean?
Yeah, hydrology, simply put, for everybody to understand, is a science that studies the properties and the distribution of water on the Earth's surface.
Wow, on the Earth's surface. And of course, that includes Nigeria, Africa, and everything.
Everywhere in the world.
Interesting.
Yes.
So let me throw you a curveball. We partake or we utilize water on the River Niger. So now part of your hydrology means you undertake the movement of the water and where it comes from. I understand it comes from another country, it passes through Nigeria and goes out to the sea.
Yes.
So you study that as well.
Exactly.
So what do I need to do to become a hydrologist?
Yeah, there are so many courses you can study to becoming an hydrologist. One, we have civil engineers that specialize in water. We have people that studied water resources. We have people that studied geography because they deal with water also a lot. So there are quite a number of courses that you can study and take your specialty in water management or hydrology.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I see that. So I'm hoping our viewers who want to become a hydrologist of the future, you can hear what he has said. Now that you are mentioning the movement of water, water has become a very, very, let me say, burning, front burner issue for the whole world because now we're talking about climate change. Do you observe the impact of climate change on water?
Yes, definitely.
So what are your conclusions?
Yeah, what leads to climate change to start with? We have, increase in temperature, rise in the sea level. So we are interested because we are affected. And that is why we don't just sit at Kanji Dam to look at the dam. We monitor how these changes affect the channel right from where this River Niger comes into Nigeria, as far as Sabongeri, Ilo, that you can just cross with leg to another country. I have a station there that I visit regularly, and we get information. That is why it caught, people are surprised. Why are you not caught unaware? We're not caught unaware because we have people all over that, tells us what is going on. Like if I have, channel burst in Sabongeri, Ilo now, it's just a matter of time calculating it. How many weeks, how many days will it take to get to Kanji? That gives me enough room to prepare, to make sure that Kanji Dam is preserved.
So now talking about climate change, I'm still going to hang on and stay on the topic of climate change. Is climate change affecting us in Africa?
Definitely.
How?
It's affecting us. Is change in temperature not affecting us in Africa?
It is.
Is it not affecting us in the cities in Nigeria? Yes. So simply put, it's affecting us. and we cannot run away from it.
Wow. So that means we can't escape from the climate change conversation.
No, we cannot. We can only deal with it.
I see.
Yes.
I see. So now understanding the process and how water behaves and moves, how does that help in planning for you, for instance, now? What does that do to you in making you prepare? Because you operate in a hydropower space.
Yeah.
And there was a time when we brought the person of Alaji Bello when he talked about our petrol being water. So if petrol is our water, how do you, as hydrologists, help us in effectively utilizing petrol, which is water, in our own systems?
In trying to do that, you need to know the amount of water you are expecting into your reservoir.
Okay.
That's why we have seasons. We have seasons. And in order not to put the dam under pressure, we will need to monitor what is coming to us. How many cubics of water are we expecting? And that is why the company has done so well in establishing what we call, gauging station. At every point of interception that we feel that this flow is important to us, they go extra mile to, install a gauging station for us to monitor not just the flow, but the stage of the water to be at the safe side.
So when you say gauging station, you refer to a gauge like the gauge a car has. We have a petrol gauge.
Yes.
Is that similar?
Yeah, we can relate it to it because if you have been to Kanji Dam and I take you to the dam crest, you see numbering in meters. And that shows you the stage of filling or drawdown that we are.
I see.
The moment you get there, you'll be able to see the stage of the dam.
I see. So those gauges are things you read how often? Quarterly, monthly, annually, for effective operations?
On daily basis.
No, you read them on a daily basis.
On daily basis. Some of them not even one time in a day.
I mean, I don't even check the gauge of my car on a daily
3
basis.
times in a day. We check some of them. 7 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m.
Wow.
Because we can't leave the structure of that magnitude to chances.
I agree.
We won't do that.
I agree totally. I agree. So now talking about the movements, most of these flowing water pass through communities, through other states, through other countries. How do you keep communities aware of the flow of water? Especially if maybe we're going to have a huge flow of water coming from another country. And so how do you keep communities informed?
Yeah, in fact, this is an interesting question because we have stakeholders.
Yes.
And the communities we have both at up and downstream, they are stakeholders.
What do you mean by upstream and downstream?
Okay, for example, we have upstream of Kanji Dam, where we can call places like Yauri, places like Sabongeri, Ilo. They are upstream of Kanji Dam.
Because that means they are higher?
Yes, they are the up of dam of the dam. And downstream, like for example, Jeba is downstream of Kanji. Lokoja is downstream of Kanji. I've had to visit Lokoja several times.
All the way to Lokoja?
Yes, to tell them that this is the stage of our reservoir. And if this magnitude of inflow continues like this, at certain stage, we might gradually need to release water, from the dam. Because the dam itself must be safe.
Definitely.
And regulating it that way is better for all of us. And we go as far as Lokoja to inform them that this is the time we're expecting water. Everybody at the river bank, or because, of course, river itself has right of way. It's just that
Yes.
It's human beings that used to abuse it.
River itself has right
It
of
has
way.
right of way. And river must claim its space
Definitely.
when the flow is huge. So we go as far as Lokoja to tell them. And not even just only that, we roll out, what we call flood warning to tell people we are expecting, rise on River Niger. So please, as much as possible, evacuate the floodplain
So that means
or the river bank.
people occupy the right of way of the river.
Exactly.
Oh.
For so many reasons. Because of the alluvial deposit along the flood, so it is very fertile for agriculture. That's why you find out that when around the river boundary, you see where people grow their vegetables and they have bumper harvest.
I see.
Because of the alluvial deposit
I see.
on the river channels.
I see.
So we warn them that, okay, evacuate farming for this period because we are expecting high flow. And because we value them, we don't want anything evil to happen to them. So we sensitize them.
Oh, that's very interesting. So that is one I was going to ask a question about flood warning. So that's one component of flood warning.
Yeah.
Right? So are there other stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders you engage with in flood warning whenever there's a need for you to do sensitization around rise of water and things like that? Some of these stakeholders, who are they?
Yeah, head of local government.
I see.
Emirs.
I see.
Obas.
Okay.
Because we feel that this is the easiest way to reach the people. That when you get across to the head of the community, is as good as getting across to the community itself.
Yes.
When you get across to the local government chairman, is as good as getting across to the places he oversees.
Very true.
As the chairman.
Very true.
And not just, we document it officially. We write them, signed by a top management officer, and we distribute them. And in fact, as a matter of fact, just to chip this, we have a community relations department.
Yes.
That help us carry, this work out seamlessly.
I see. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to quickly just take you right back before I come back to. I was going to ask you if, as a community member now, I live around the river banks, and you meet me, or the Oba calls me, for instance, and says, there's been a flood warning. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, you suspend activities around the river channel when you know that you are at risk. God forbid, if you are caught in the middle, survival might be very difficult.
Water currents get very
survival might be very difficult. And we don't want this. We don't want this.
I see. So in the course of your work, has the river always risen annually, or there are times when it rises particularly very high, or do communities face this rise in river every time? Is it an annual thing, or have there been times where you notice that some are higher than other years, right?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah, it's not every time that we are overwhelmed. It's not every year. But of course, we have dry season, we have wet season, we have times that the rainfall in a particular year is very heavy. We have years that the rainfall is moderate. And we have drought that you don't even have enough rain.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
And we have, instruments that help us to be able to look into this. And also we have agencies that we collaborate with.
I see.
In fact, like a ministry.
Exactly. I was going to ask you about that was actually, you are jumping into my mind, which is a very, very good thing. I was going to ask you in the governmental sector, if you like, amongst government stakeholders, who are some of the people you collaborate with? I was going to ask that.
Yeah, we have an agency called NISA that's carved out from water resources to look at, water, basically.
What was the full meaning of NISA?
NISA, Nigeria Institute of Hydrological Agency. And also we have a hydrology department in Federal Ministry of Water Resources that will relate with. In fact, interestingly, the director called me about 3 weeks ago, that he learned that Kanji Dam collapsed. I said, sir, I'm speaking to you from my office. And if Kanji Dam collapsed, I don't think I will be here. Because there will be no place to call my office. God forbid. In fact, God forbid.
I think people don't understand the magnitude of having a dam collapse. That's why they say dam collapse.
Some cities will be removed from the map of Nigeria if Kanji Dam collapse. God forbid, it will not collapse.
So that's why I'm sure that's why people like you, people like our former speaker, Alhaji Bello, the head of dam safety, you are working round the clock. I do not think you have closing times. You're always talking. I mean, look at you talking about getting reading from your gauge 3 times a day. I promise you, I do not look at my petrol gauge, my car petrol gauge twice a day. Once I look at it in the morning when I'm leaving my house, I'm going to look at it the next day because I know my car won't consume that fuel. But here, you're actually saying you have communications with your gauging centers almost 3 times a day.
3 times a day.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. And even in the station, like dam safety you just mentioned, we work together. We have had course, to work together on several issues. We have had course to travel together. In fact, to make sure the Kanji Dam is safe, we toured all the dams on the upstream of Kanji Dam. I think you were part of the process.
Yes. I was on that trip. So now that means you are completely on top of what you do. You see the movement of water, how it goes, and everything. I want to ask again now. My final question to you is: are you going to be doing more? Are you going to be doing flood warning again this year? Are you going to do that?
We will
the campaign
do
you can
it
carry out regularly
if we need to
okay,
do it.
So
we'll carry out the campaign if we need to do, and if we have signals that we are going to have more inflow than we expect, we will roll out flood warning.
Fantastic.
To sensitize
stakeholders that
people.
Need to be sensitized.
Yes.
I see.
We will make calls. We will relate with our CROs.
That's the community relations officers.
Yeah, community relations officers, to make sure that we get to everybody we need to get to.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Akonde. It's been a very, very fruitful, informative session. Like I said, over the years, I mean, these people that we bring have always enlightened me and honestly added to my knowledge about the operations of the hydropower space and, of course, the power sector as a whole, because the people we bring are not going to only be within that operate at the cusp, if you like, of the power sector, but sometimes at the periphery and at the back as well. The next person we're going to be bringing, I'm sure after Mr. Akonde, is going to be someone who does performance management for the power sector. And it's also going to be an interesting session, just as he has been with Mr. Akonde. I only have one issue with Mr. Akonde. He didn't bring fish. And I tell you, there's a lot of fish in Kainji. I have tasted. There's another resource person that I need to go and I need to jump on.
You can say that again.
There's a lot of fish in Kainji. I know the crew also want fish, if there's fish, but I'm not good now. Okay, no, only one of them. So all the rest won't get fish. But next time when you're coming, please bring fish. In addition to the knowledge with which you bring to the studios with us.
I want to invite you to Kanji so that you will even eat fish that is as big as you are.
Thank you very much.
When you tell people you have fish that are as big as human beings,
they will doubt it. And I have seen one. I've seen one. Yes, I've seen one.
So that we can give
the
you
Nile
good
carp,
treat.
they call it Giwanrua. I've seen it. Yes. So, viewers, once again, like I've always said, please remember, when you have questions, send questions to when we post the video, send questions, bring in your inquiries, and we get our resource persons to answer them. And if we think your question requires another session with a resource person, we will bring them back because you asked. Thank you for joining us on Mainstream Main Gist. See you at the other edition.